Hi everyone, I don't know why I'm purple. um, this is just a video to express my love for Hallmark movies. I don't really know what a Hallmark movie is, but I'm watching a Netflix movie, and I feel like it's a Hallmark movie or Hallmark movie-esque. Anywho, so you should watch one. I have decided, as of right now, I'm currently watching Let It Snow. However, whenever I have nothing to do, I just take my time and do whatever I want. It's one of my favorite things ever. And so I was watching it 2 hours ago, an hour and a half ago. And then I got while I was doing it, I was also updating stuff on my Instagram. And then I just went and talked to my mom for 45 minutes. Once again, had nothing to do. So I was like, whatever, why not? And then I went and drank some cranberry juice. Fun fact, and I like cranberries and grapefruits. And at the beginning of the year, literally 3 months ago, I was like, I hate both of them. But no, I don't. Actually, well, I was starting to like cranberries, but I didn't like grapefruits. But I've already talked about how I got gaslit into liking them by my school, which is really hilarious. I don't even know how that happened, honestly. And now I was scrolling through my TikTok feed, and I watched this video. Also, I've had 2.5 cookies today, within the last 3 hours. So I'm on a little bit of a sugar high, I guess. Which is where I get my best ideas. Also, I'm so upset that a year ago I was in New York, and this year I'm not doing anything, but that's okay. Good things are coming. Moving on, I've decided that for my graduation, I want to make it a national holiday at smallest, or at least, I guess. And so I want to start planning all the crap I want to do for it. That's what I'm going to do right now. Because no matter where I'm going, no matter what I'm doing, everyone's going to know about it. It's going to be a national holiday. Because it's my graduation. I can't believe it. Literally, what? It's been a long time coming. I'm so excited. Hi, everyone. It is currently Friday. My spring break started today. I didn't mention this earlier, but I didn't go to school today because I woke up and I literally should have left 10 minutes before I woke up, and I was like, yeah, no. And so then I slept, and it's now 3 a.m. and I'm thinking this is a point that I find very important. And I don't say this outwardly, but if you know me or if you ask me about it, I'll tell you. And I'm sharing this just because I'm I want to make a point. There's a difference between me letting people believe wrong things about me and arguing to make my point, or to show, and arguing about who I am. And I never do this one. If you make an incorrect assumption about me, 9 times out of 10, actually 10 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to correct you because I genuinely don't care. So many times people will say to me, you're this, you're that, and I'm just okay. And I just ignore them. Because genuinely, whenever I say, I am not willing to waste my breath and my time and my energy explaining to you who I am, what I believe, why I'm right and you're wrong, whenever I can just say, okay, and or whenever I can just let it roll off my back and continue the conversation in a non-aggressive manner. Because from what I've learned in my past, it's not worth it to argue just to get the tiny minuscule validation of somebody saying, okay, you're right, and they don't even mean it. And I know I can be the rightest person on planet Earth, and they could be so wrong. But, I mean, it's not worth it to argue. It's so not worth it. And the only time I'll argue with someone is if I actually care about what they think of me, or if the perception involves something I really care about and something that I would really be upset if somebody were to say, you are this and I know I'm not. For example, if somebody were to say, like, you buy, or if somebody were to say, like, you support this that supports animal cruelty. Like, one time somebody said, I buy from this brand that I literally despise because of how awful of a brand they are. And I literally went, no, I don't. That's not true. No, I don't. I don't buy from them. And literally everyone around me was like, no, she doesn't. Because everyone, literally, if you've spoken to me more than 5 times, maybe, you would know that. Or if you just ask me anything about anything, it's gonna come around to that. And that's why it annoys me whenever people like say like, oh, you're this, you're that. But it only annoys me after like a while. Like, I'm just now getting annoyed about people like telling me what I am and what I'm not. And this has happened like last week. But like in the moment, I genuinely don't care. I only get annoyed whenever I really think about it. And I usually just kind of let it go, but I guess I don't fully let it go. So this is me fully letting it go by saying, I'm not going to argue with you if I know what I'm talking about is correct. Or if I'm not really trying to debate whether or not I'm correct. Because in some stances, I'm just going to believe what I want to believe. Like, for example, one time, like, the phrase, if he wanted to, he would, came up. And people were like, oh, I don't support that, I don't support that. And I was just like, okay, whatever. Because, like, you can argue, like, you know, that sets unfair expectations for men. And I'm just really not trying to get into an argument about how the amount of unreasonable and crazy and just unrealistic expectations are set for women, and they consistently increase and increase and increase, and they continue to meet them. And men are told, if you want to do something, then you should. And they're like, oh my God, that is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. Oh my God, so many hard standards. Oh, please, somebody sympathize for me. Everybody start crying. Like, and you want to tune into that and be like, yeah, like, I feel so bad for them. Like, I'm just not gonna, I'm not gonna deal with that. And you know what? I will say, I think that if you're supporting that, then, you know, really, if you want to do something, then you would. That's what makes you upset. That's what's upsetting you. Try getting told that if somebody's making fun of you, pulling your hair, being rude to you, then they're attracted to you. Try that for a day, okay? And people say, like, you shouldn't compare it. I'm sorry. I'm going to. Because it's like, it's already, like, expectations are like this. And you get brought up to here and you're like, are we kidding? Are we serious? But I'm not gonna 1v9 this. Because this just goes back to the inherent sexism that lies within our community. But I'm not really trying to get into a whole debate about that. And honestly, I was like, do I really care to have this argument? Is this really needed? Is this necessary? And no. And also, like, there are such few times when I will debate that. And I mean, that kind of makes me upset because I'm like, I think my beliefs, like, there's something that I do like to speak about and something I do like to, you know, share. And like, I'm always willing to learn new stuff. Like, but if I can sense that it's just going to be an argument and somebody's just going to keep on trying to prove that they're right and I'm wrong, I'm going to be annoyed. Because while I do, like, me personally, obviously it's my belief, so I believe that I'm correct. I'm willing to, like, accept different parts of the argument. I'm not like, I'm 1000% right and you're 1000% wrong. I'm just choosing not to argue with you. And so I understand that there are counter arguments. I'm just really not in the mood to get into all that with somebody who's just going to keep on dismissing what I have to say, because, like, no, I'm not going to do that. If it's like an open if it's like an open conversation and it's like, well, you believe this, but I believe that, and like they accept what I believe, or if they're willing to see it from my position and I'm willing to see it from theirs, that's one thing. But if it's just a freaking, like, if it's just serving debate and I'm really not trying to get into all that, then I'm not going to. And I've said this, like, it's just so, and it's not worth your time. Like, if somebody tells you, like, if somebody tries to tell you who you are and who you aren't, and you know, obviously they're wrong, because how the hell would they know who you are? Then you can just be like, okay, and then go back to doing what you want to do. And also just remember, a lot of the times people will try and project things that apply to them onto you. And so if somebody says something and you're like, that's not true, it doesn't have to be true. And I say this, and I also feel like there are times where, like, you have to be open to what people have to say to you. Also, recently, I've just started to believe you, like, you can be who you want to be. And if that means being an absolute menace, you can be a menace, and you're going to face the consequences of being a menace. But that's your choice in the end. So, if you know, I'm a menacing person, I'm annoying, I cause problems for other people, and people don't like me because of the way I act, and you just don't care, you don't have to care. That's up to you. Also, if you're consistently told to stop doing something and that it's harming people and that it's upsetting, that's when you should kind of be like. But if it's a one-time thing where somebody goes, you think this? The fuck? I'm really not going to get into it with you at 9 in the morning, so you believe what you want to believe. Also, nobody will ever fully know who you are because they're not you, and perception is reality. For example, there are probably many people out on the road who think I'm a bad driver because of one mistake I made, and that's all they saw of me. And there are people who I think are bad drivers because of mistakes that they made. In turn, there are people who think I'm a great driver because of things I've done, and vice versa. And so, do you really want to sit and argue with Sally because Sally saw you do one bad thing and thinks you're an evil person? Is it really worth your time? And where this differs is, like, if it's somebody whose opinion you actually care about, if it's a really close friend, or if it's something that you don't want to be perceived as. Those are my 3 rules. Anything other than that, who cares? Like, who cares? Judging other people will only cage you in a box of having to. Ooh, this brings me to another point. Whenever you. I'm very guilty of this, actually. Whenever you don't allow other people. Wait. If you're really hard on yourself and really hard on other people, that cages you in a box, because then, or at least for me, I feel like if I expect this from other people, then I have to expect it from myself. And let me just tell you, it's okay to let some of that go. You don't have to consistently have to be perfect and expect other people to be perfect. Like, you can just mess up. And I've actually been a lot better about this recently. I will say, I don't really know why this happens, but I have phases where I'm like, I need to be perfect and everyone else needs to meet my standards. And if they don't, then I'm going to get very upset, not with them, with myself. And then I'm like, wait, I can let that go. And then, like, I think it's whenever I get really stressed and I just, like, it builds up and it builds up and it builds up and it builds up. And I'm like, no, perfection. And then I freak out and I'm like, wait, why do I care? And then I go back down to my natural state of calmness and happiness. And so, also, don't let anchor biases hold you from making new friends. Also, choose your friends based on what they do rather than what they say. We good, right? My head really hurts. I washed my hair earlier, hence why it's in a shirt. And it's so heavy. My hair's so heavy. It's exhausting. I have a consistent headache because my hair is constantly dragging my head back. Like, the back of my neck is in complete and utter pain right now. Oh my god. Free me! Kidding, please don't. I like my hair. I just wish it wasn't so heavy. Okay. Bye. Okay. Hello everyone. I'm eating breakfast. Last night I was up very late watching TikToks. I'm eating a turkey meal right now. I was up very late watching TikToks and trying to get this, I think, virus off my computer, but it won't delete. So there's that. Anywho, so I've decided 2 things. Number 1, from watching my TikToks, I feel more educated on what's going on in the world because something about my school, I don't know what it is. I can't identify it, and I don't think I'm going to be able to until I don't go there anymore. But it's like, I feel like I get caught up in a bubble. And I just, like, I get stressed to a point where, like, I'm like, I need to think about that later. Like, I'll research it later. I can't do that right now. And so, anywho, now that I'm on spring break and I had nothing to do yesterday because I didn't go to school, or today because I was supposed to take the SAT, but I did not end up doing that. I, like, was doing research last night. And now I'm understanding, because, like, in my history class, we're learning stuff, but I feel like I'm not, like, grasping it. Like, I'm not understanding why it's important what we're learning about, if that makes sense. And so, my window's open, and so my room's, like, hot as hell. So just disregard me taking a second. I'm like, I don't understand what, like, because my teacher's, like, basically implying that there's, like, he's saying, like, look at the parallels. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no clue what you're trying to say, because we haven't discussed any of the points that are going on in the freaking war right now. I don't know what you're trying to say. And so I just kind of go, and I, like, take notes. But number 1, what reignited, like, my passion, because, like, obviously I know what I stand for. I feel like sometimes my passion starts to fade as time goes on, and if I don't have enough time to, like, consistently educate myself and remember what it is that I'm angry about, or what it is that upsets me, or what it is, like, why I stand for what I stand for, I feel like I've had an issue with that, because I can't explain it to you. I feel like I get so caught up, I don't even have time to consider what's going on outside of my bubble, which sounds really selfish, but that's the truth. And so as I'm, like, you know, also sometimes I just, like, I can't consistently learn about, like, this is awful and this is awful and this is awful and this is awful. But I also had a dream where, like, there was, like, these huge planes flying over, and I was like, well, shit, that doesn't look good. And that kind of made me realize how crazy what's going on right now is, because I feel like it's become such a, like, this happened, 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 this happened. Oh, you open your phone, this happened, this happened, this happened. And it's like, oh my god, like, give me a minute. But that kind of, like, made me realize, like, wait, this is crazy. And there are so many people who just act like this is not happening. It's insane. And so that might also be part of the reason, because I'm around so many people and they compartmentalize to a point where it's like, I don't know. I feel like everything that's been happening has definitely been affecting my ability to do my schoolwork, because how can I sit here and learn about sinusoidal graphs when there's people dying every minute? Which I understand. Let me finish chewing. It's like, I understand that's not a new thing, because I know people will say, well, that's not new. It's also on such a grand scale, and it's so in your face now. It's just like, there's so many atrocities that have been going on or like discovered. Just everything's coming to light. Like, it's literally like, girl, the curtain's wide open, or the curtain's opening, and it's just like worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. I think it's very, very good that now everyone knows what's going on, because I cannot imagine having to know that this stuff is going on and nobody else knowing. That would be just horrible, because nobody would probably believe you. I also think it's gone to a point where people are just burying their heads in the sand, and I've never been that kind of person, but I feel like instead of burying my head in the sand, I've just been trying to like be like, but now I'm like blank staring the problem. Anywho, and so now, as I was saying, it like reignited my passion for what I believe in, like women's rights, women's month, and I can't tolerate any disrespect towards women in general. Oh, I talked about this last night. Yeah. No. Moving on. And do people say, oh, so that means that you'll tolerate disrespect for men? This is not about men, so let's not make it about men. Okay, moving on. Number 2. What is it? Standing up for what's right in general. Just like, if something seems wrong, then it is wrong. And you should always say, no, that's wrong. I don't stand for that. And that doesn't have to be every day. You just stand in the middle of your cafeteria and go, this is wrong, this is wrong. But whenever you are given the chance to say something, whenever you are in conversation about something, you don't have to ruin your relationships. You can also choose to not respond or choose to state your case and choose to stand up for what you know is correct. And that might look different for all types of people. What you might think is correct might not be what I think is correct, but I think that if we can meet at a middle ground and try and understand each other, then that's gonna help everyone. Number 3. I don't take shit from anyone. And I kind of slept on this, and then I woke up. Okay, wait, I love the cutoff from that video. I slept on this, and I woke up, and I realized that if somebody's gonna be rude to me, or say unkind things to me, or do things that are unkind, I reserve the right, number 1, to say, all that says is things about you, not about me. Number 2, to stand up for myself, whatever that might look like. And let me just say, if somebody always does things to you in a group or behind your back and never to your face, that says so much about them. Because me personally, if I have a problem with somebody, I'm gonna take it up to their face, or I'm not gonna take it up at all. Actually, there are times where I will say things about somebody to other people. No! Grayson, no! No, you are not allowed to do that. No, do not do that. Cat is clawing at my freaking window. No, don't do that. I'm trying to tear down my window screen. Okay, that was really long. Anywho. What was I saying? Ugh, now I've been interrupted. Yes. If somebody's consistently doing things and they're too... Oh, wait, what I was saying was, I will tell other people, but I won't tell the person. That's only if they're doing the same thing to me. Because I don't think it's worth very much to confront somebody who's doing a whole bunch of crap behind your back, because they're obviously going to deny it. So, I also think usually that happens more as me just sharing what happened rather than plotting maniacally against them. Moving on. But if if I have a problem with somebody, if I genuinely have a problem with somebody and they've done something to me and I feel like I've been wronged, I'm just going to talk to them. And I think it comes from a serious place of jealousy and insecurity to just target somebody who's literally done nothing to you. And it's just really weird. And so I've decided, like, I've like woken up and I'm like, I can just acknowledge where this is coming from and why it's happening and go, weird, and move on. And that was freeing to me. Like, I knew that, but I didn't know that. And now I know that. And so I can just go, okay, next. Just weird. But then again, if you're talking behind my back, I don't have to acknowledge it. And I honestly wasn't planning on acknowledging anything. It's whenever it started to become behind my back to my face. That doesn't make any sense. It started to become things I cannot ignore. And now I'm like, literally, what? Genuinely, what? I don't have time for this. I have no interest in getting you back. I just want you to leave me alone. Like, I could really care less what you think of me. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me. None of my business, honestly. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. But just to like refine my point, because I feel like it's kind of all over the place. What I'm saying is, I just basically realized like it's not me who's the problem. Which I knew, because it's, if you heard what happened, you'd be like, wow, yeah, no, you're not. But I mean, also, I just realized that you can always ignore it, or I don't know. I'm not really ignoring it anymore. I'm kind of at a point where I'm just like, I'm not gonna take your shit. Yeah. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. Bye. Hi, everyone. So, it is currently Monday, and I've been carpe DMing the week away. That's kind of a joke. So, I didn't go to school on Friday, as you know. Saturday, I like low-key, after I woke up, I logged in. I don't know what it is, but like literally whenever I have no school, nowhere to be, nothing to do, that's whenever my best ideas come to me. And so I've been utilizing my break. That's why I'm not working this week, because I was like, oh, we're getting my life together. And so that's the plan. I'm currently about to work on some community service. I want to make those graduation cards, like where you send your graduation announcement to like businesses and celebrities. And I don't really want to do it so much as to get stuff back. I just think it sounds fun. Also, stuff back would be very much so appreciated. So, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I honestly thought about not even adding a return address, because I don't want them to think I'm sending it to them just so I can get stuff back. But I feel like I might as well add it, because it makes more sense. Because if they want to send stuff to me, I don't want to make it 30 times harder for them, if that makes sense. So today, and then yesterday, I like rotted, and today yesterday I didn't rot. I was like, it was like continued of what, oh no, yesterday I had work, and I was like, oh no, but but that's where I got the idea of making my graduation cards. And then today I woke up. I remember I was eating and I was working on making a list of my extracurriculars. And like how I like explaining everything that's going on. And then I was like, okay, I want to go to a cafe and work. And so I went to this cafe. And let me just say, I love it whenever people are like sweet. I love like sweet people because I walk in and I'm like putting my stuff down, and this guy, like, he's like looking down at his like charger thing, and he looks like worried. And I'd like walk off to go get my drink. I got an London Fog. It was fire. And I sit down with my London Fog, and he's like, is this in your way? It was not whatsoever in my way. Like, here's where I was sitting. So I'm sitting here, he's sitting here, and his charger's like right here. And like, here's my seat. And I was like, no, you're fine. And he goes, okay, thank you. And I was like, I appreciate that. Like, I don't know anything about you, but this one interaction, like, thank you. I appreciate it because I just love when people are nice and polite. And that's what he was, to me at least. So thanks, bro. And then that one was like closing, and so I went to a different coffee shop for a little bit. And then I was like, ooh, I have an idea. And so I went to a craft store, and let me just say, those people had no idea what was going on in there. I walk up to this guy and I'm like, hi, do you have anti-pill fleece? And he looks at me like I'm insane. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, and he was like, let me look. And then he asked the other people, and they were like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, okay, all right, that's fine. And so I left, and then I went to Home Goods because I was like, maybe I can get myself a little something to cheer me up. But I honestly, like, I have to be so honest with myself. I had nothing I wanted in there because I wasn't looking for anything. And so I was just wandering around, and I was like, I just want to go home. And I ended up just going home. A holy waste of time. I was like, because I love Home Goods whenever I'm looking for something. I had no idea what I wanted, and so it was just like a whole bunch of stuff, and I was just like, I knew I did want like some wall art, but like I was just making a whole bunch of excuses for reasons why I didn't want to get the things I liked, which is a habit of mine. And I was like, I need to go. I need to go. We're not breaking any habits today. We're leaving. And yeah. Let me just say, also, Harry Styles' new album, Kiss All the Time, Disco Occasionally, literally, I knew from the title I was gonna like it because there's something about that title that, like, scratches my brain. And also, it's just like, yes. Like, yes. I get it. I get it. I get it. And I listened to it. Love it. Love it. Like, I've been reading a book. I started The 7-Year Slip, and I think it's a cutie book. And I was listening to that while I read it, and it's like I literally just lock in. It's like the music is like part of my brain. And then I also was writing, and I locked in so hard, and I was listening to that album. I love that album, and I want its vinyl immediately. Let's add Harry Styles to my list of people I'm mailing. I don't know, just the concept of somebody who's like, who I know things about, but they don't know anything about me, opening mail and seeing my face and being like, who the hell is this? It's just really funny to me. And I want to make it memorable. Like, it just seems fun. Fun little side quest. And like, you never know what you're going to get out of it. Also, I was just thinking about this. One of my favorite quotes, always keep confetti in your pocket in case of an unexpected surprise. I love that quote. Basically, what it means to me is like, always stay prepared for your dreams coming true. So like, let's say you're always like, I want to go to a book fair. I want to go to a book fair. I want to go to a book fair. Think about it. If right now somebody came up to you and said, you're going to a book fair, would you have everything you need? Would you have your outfit? Would you have the clothes, or yeah, your outfit? Would you have like the mentality you want to have at your book fair? Would you have the person who you want to go with you? Would you want to go with yourself? Would you have your cute little tote bag that you want to go with? Would you have enough money to buy books there? Like, everything that you would want to have for that experience. do you have that right now? And if not, then girl, go get it. Go get your confetti. So then when your surprise shows up, you're like, yay! And you're not like, I have no confetti. What am I going to do? And I love that. I love that mentality. And I also feel like it works with the law of attraction. Like, let's say you can even like take it a step further. Let's say you have a crush on somebody and you're like, I want that immediately. Them, not that, but you know that. If you were to date them, would you be somebody who you want to date somebody with? Would you be somebody who you, well, are you ready for a relationship? Do you like yourself? Do you love yourself? Can you spend time by yourself? Can you spend time with other people? Do you know how to communicate your feelings effectively? Because if you go into a relationship and you're just a hot mess express, it's not going to be fun. And so like, and if you see somebody, but you don't even feel good about yourself, then that's just going to be a constant game of you trying to convince yourself that you're worthy of somebody. And that's not how you want to play it. Because we're all equal. We're all equal. So we can't be doing none of this. No. So anywho, make sure you have your confetti. Keep that confetti ready. And also, to me, it just means like have a party dress in your car. Because like, if somebody were to say like, hey, do you want to go do this with me? My answer is obviously going to be hell yeah. But let's say it starts at 5, it's currently 4, and my house is 25 minutes away. And so I ain't got time to go get ready. No. We need to stay ready. Also, another thing this applies to, if you ran into your celebrity crush in public and you were like, damn, I want to take a photo with them. Do you look ready to take a photo with them, or are you going to be looking like you just crawled out of a dumpster? Do you, like, and it's not necessarily, like, I don't want you to apply this to, like, looking good so you show up good for other people. It's looking good so you feel good about yourself. Like, are you going to walk up to them and be like, man, I look like scary right now. Man, I look spooky ooky right now. I don't want to be saying hi to anyone looking like this. And you know what? Maybe you don't care. And you know what? Hell yeah, I support that. Honestly, whatever you want. It's your life. That's just what it means to me, though. And so, this is me getting my confetti ready. Because, what if I put confetti inside the letter? Because you never know. Like, what if I send this letter and then I run into somebody and they're like, oh my god, I saw your graduation thing. And I'm like, oh wait, that's so funny. Hey girl. Hey, nice to meet you. But yeah, it just sounds like a blast. And honestly, I will be the first one to say, I'm not bad at remembering faces, but I can't tell if somebody is, like, somebody looks like somebody or if somebody is that somebody. And so sometimes I'll just stare at people like, also I have insanely bad eyes, if that's not abundantly clear. And so I tend to stare at people, but I'm not trying to follow someone around, like, and then ask them, like, is this your name? And so I think that's also usually why I wait for people to say hi to me and I don't say hi to people. I do this at school too, and I know who they are. I don't know why I do that. I just kind of stare at them and I go, and I wait for my hello. But I mean, if somebody were to recognize me because of it, that would be really funny. And so, yeah. But anywho, this is my confetti. And so I have this thick stack of paper. I am so sorry, trees. I feel like I could have done this digitally. This is also, I want to make cards for people. Like community service cards. I think that could be really cute. Like uplifting cards and like, you were so loved, ones with cute little pictures. And so that's what this is for, and I cannot do that digitally. I mean, I could, but it's so much, I think it makes people feel so much better, and it would make me feel so much better if I opened a card that said you were so loved, and it was handwritten, and not just an email. But yeah. And so, that's what I'll be doing. That's my life update, and I probably won't make any other videos, so this is the last one. I hope you had a lovely, amazing, wonderful week. Okay, bye. Okay, hi everyone. I've written 8 cards over the span of 4 hours. So, like 30 minutes per card. Okay, I'm gonna tell you everyone I wrote a card to, and I'm gonna give you like a general like overview of what I said. Okay, so I wrote one to the neighborhood. And I just talked about why I'm sending them a card. They've been one of my favorite artists since 2021, and I literally love their music. Excuse my odd speech. It's 4 a.m. currently, and so I'm a little bit out of it. And so on the front, I wrote some of my fave songs, and then on the back, I wrote some of my favorite quotes. That's one. And then this one was the glass animals, because they basically got me through 2025. Rough year. And I made sure to mention that to them. I was like, thank y'all. And then just talked about some of my favorite songs. And then I put like what I did for the neighborhood. Just fave songs, fave quotes. Put you over there. Wait, I want my order. Oh, I'm so tired. Okay. I'm gonna put them like that so it's the right way. Okay. Oh, and I wrote one to Hosier. No, not Hosier. And my fave quotes were inside this time. And then I wrote my fave songs, and I just talked to him about why I enjoy his music. And also mentioned rough 2025. I wrote one to Taylor Swift. I don't know if she takes letters. I haven't seen any. I mentioned this. I was like, I haven't seen anybody send you a letter. And I'm guessing she doesn't have a P.O. box, because I'm sure it would just turn into a shipping factory. But I was like, I'm gonna write it anyway, and hers is like full. Like, she's packed to the brim. And it's funny because I was literally listening to her while I was writing like all my other 4 letters, because I wrote 4 to music artists and then 4 to brands thus far. And I'm also like utterly exhausted. I was like, oh, I can keep going, and I'm like, sleep. Okay, this one is to a brand called Mashu. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. It's like a vegan luxury purse brand, and I'm just telling them about how I've wanted one of their purses for like literally ever, and I signed it off, future customer. But I just thanked them for giving me something to save for, and for also like being a good example, since there are so many brands who don't ethically source like their leather and stuff, and they do, and they're very sustainable. This one's to a brand called Hello. They make like toothpastes and deodorants, and I first found them in 4th grade whenever I was strolling around in Target, and I came across this like bright red toothpaste, and I was like, I want it. And it ended up being cruelty free, and I was like, oh, I want to get it. So I used my Christmas money and I got it, and I still use their toothpaste, and I have one of their deodorants down there. The deodorant did unfortunately not work very well for me. I am not currently wearing it, but I like their products, and I appreciate that they're cruelty free and vegan, and so that's why I wrote to them. This one's to a brand called Eminence. It is I found it from my esthetician, and I thanked them for helping me with my confidence by giving me good skin, because, well, not that there's good or bad skin, but my skin was like literally, it would just flake here in all my eyelids because I was allergic to what I was using, and it just wasn't cute. And I would look, like my freshman year, I would look in the mirror and be like, oh, what's going on? And I'm sure that was kind of unattractive. I know it was unattractive because I saw it and I was like, oh, wow. Anyway, so I said, thank you for fixing that. And then I wrote to Gisu. and I just said, I love your product, and I accidentally messed up on this side, and so I said, excuse this side, hashtag warm up round, and then I wrote warm up round under it because I write in cursive and I didn't know if they could read it, and then I said, thank you for reading. And I did little like puns for these, and so I don't know if anyone's gonna steal my idea, but also, like, if they do, I have literal documentation of me coming up with it first, and also I'm not trying to patent it. So I'll say this one. It's Gisu's graduating. Get it? Gisu? Gesu? Gisu's graduating. And here we go. Oh my goodness. The back of... I honestly, like, for these, I just made them, like, really personal, but also, like, kind of just, like... I didn't take them, like, too seriously. And so I just kind of wrote what I thought and wrote how I speak. Because I was like, you know what? Like... maybe they'll get around to reading it, maybe they won't, maybe some random person will end up opening this, and so you know what, I'm gonna let them know exactly who I am, and yeah, that's what I was just having a blast. Oh, I'm so tired, oh my god. So this is what I think I'm gonna be doing tomorrow. I also need to go to get some fabric because I decided today that I want to make some there's this thing called the Linus Project, and it makes blankets for kids in need, and or like 0 to 18. So I was like, I'm gonna do that. And then, oh yes, I told you I went to the craft store. Nobody knew what was going on. And so I was, granted, it was like 8 p.m. So, you know what, I get it, I guess. But I was like, are you, like, I have it on my phone and I'm showing it to you, bro. All you have to do is look at the screen. But you know what? I get it. I honestly do get that, though. There are some times where I'm just like, I don't know what you want from me. And I'm sure I'm like the 40th person who's come up to him today. So, you know, that's okay. Anywho, also I was looking around because here was my problem. I wanted to make sure I was getting fleece because I was like, I don't want to get the wrong thing, and then these poor kids are like freezing and their blanket's just a piece of cloth, and I was feeling it and I was like, this doesn't feel very thick, but I guess I was waiting for him to tell me whether or not it was actual fleece. We didn't even make it to the fleece. We didn't even make it over there. He was like, what? And I was like, it's fine. It wasn't meant to be. And I was like, I don't want to get all this. And also I look up and I'm like, maybe I should just go in for a test run. I look up, there is not a single person standing at the like cutting stand. And I was like, yeah, no. And I just left. But I mean, on a Monday night at 8 p.m., I get it. So that's okay. And I'll go somewhere else tomorrow, bright and early, and so we can all just be excited to start a new day. And ready for the day, and know what's going on, hopefully. And so yeah. I am so exhausted. So I'm gonna brush my teeth, and I'm gonna watch some TV, and I'm gonna go to bed. Okay. Bye. Okay, hi everyone. I'm really feeding y'all this week. I keep on saying this is the last video, and it ain't. This is also my favorite place to make videos in my whole entire room. Last time I was here was after I got back from Japan. I have like a Trader Joe's bag right here, and I always forget that it's here, and so it like surprises me. It's like very close to me, actually. This view of my room isn't very aesthetica. This is like a project. I need to finish it, so I got all these fake flowers, and I want to put them on that canvas, but it's really hard to attach them, and so that's like a work in progress. And that is all the trash from the thing, my coloring stuff. This pair of shorts that I got from Pakistan that I don't even know if I want, I got them in like December, and my guitar. Anyhow, but I really like this perspective. Okay, I'm gonna give you a little haul. I have, for my birthday, somebody got me a gift card to Target, and so I went there today, and where I go, I never use bags, and one thing I do appreciate about Target is that, like, I can feel like I can walk out with, like, without plastic bags, without people being like, then again, that hasn't, like, ever happened to me. I guess this is, like, it's like my expectations are so low that I'm surprised by the bare minimum, but whenever I go out with my tote bag, I don't know why, I always expect people to be like, can I check in your tote bag? Like, it's like TSA or something, just because it's so freaking big. But nobody's ever asked me that, which I appreciate, honestly, and if that does happen in the future, I'll make sure to let you know. Okay, so today was a very exciting day. I got this deodorant, and it works perfect for me. It's cruelty free, and the ingredients are good for me, and it actually deodorizes, and I'm not allergic to it, and so it's like literally perfect. I love it so much. Ugh, there's a whole bunch of trash in here. Just throw that over there. And also put my fan back. Oh, pencils for my ACT. I didn't take the SAT. Okay, first things first, I got these Biskers. I was at Michael's, and the lady was like, can you show me the fabric scissors? $35. I was like, oh no. And she was like, they'll last you a long time. Mama, I am not paying that much for scissors. So anywho, I got these $12 scissors, and look, they're purple, and it's literally the same brand. The Michaels ones were obviously more expensive because they're actually made for what I'm going to use them for, but you know what? And she told me, don't use your fabric scissors for anything else, but I'm not planning on doing any other fabric projects in the future. Then again, whenever I was younger, I knew how to sew. Like, I learned how to sew, and I haven't sewed since, but I want to sew again. Okay. This is my favorite deodorant on this planet, and literally seeing it is like instant dopamine. My math teacher says that about trig identities. I don't feel instant dopamine for those. I just feel confused most of the time. I digress. Anywho, look at her. Isn't she beautiful? I've been looking for her for like 4 months because I like never really go grocery shopping, honestly, because it's not really on my weekly agenda, and usually I send my mom to go get it, and she can never find it. I guess the stores just don't have it whenever she's there. Anywho, so she's cruelty-free, certified. And then the ingredients, nothing I'm allergic to. She's rated a 79 on Yuka, which is good enough for me. And free of aluminum salts, parabens, dyes, and talc. Like, I'm actually so happy about this. I could talk about it for longer. And I did, in fact, get 3 of them. That's how excited I was. I got 3. Wait. This is going to be the cover. I want this to be the cover. I'm so happy. Anywho, so now I'll have them forever. I'm just going to sit here and be happy for a minute. Okay. There are many other deodorants I've tried. I'm wearing the raw sugar one right now, and it was my favorite, like, the entirety of my 7th grade year. And so every time I smell it, I keep on thinking that this Trader Joe bag strap is my cat. I'm gonna move it over there. Quite distracting. Okay. I loved it in 7th grade, and I think they changed the formula, and so now it's like, oh, actually, it was probably bad for me the whole time. Apparently the ingredients aren't very good. There's something in there. And also, whenever I use it, it feels like I sweat more. Like, I feel like I sweat more than whenever I don't use it. And I was like, and then I also have used the Coconut Hello one. I talked about this yesterday. And that one also kind of does the same thing for me. And also it stains all of my clothes. And so I used it. Like, I bought it and I used the whole thing. it stains all my clothes. And I also have the Gillette one, but that one, I think it has petroleum in it, and so that's unfortunate. Also, I think it tests on animals too. Let me just get my deodorant stack. Okay, here are all the ones I've used. This one, it was my mom's, and she gave it to me after I ran out of my literal baby. Has petroleum in it. And also, it doesn't hit like my... Oh, I ran out of that one. Actually, I didn't mind that one too much. This one, yeah, it's not cruelty free, and also it has like a very strong scent, which I don't really mind because it works, but it's like and also it's not my baby. This is the one I'm wearing right now. This was my favorite forever, and it smells really good, and I will say it lasts pretty long. And it's also, it says good for you ingredients. I think Yuka would disagree. It sustainable packaging, which I appreciate, and it's cruelty free, and so that's why I like her. And it smells really good, and so it's like, it's like a good like third option. And then this is the Hello one I was talking about. As you can see, I was really using the scraps. That's why there's some on the front. The coconut one, and this one, I feel like it just like, goodbye stinky. That's funny. It feels like, it makes me like cold sweat, I guess. I don't know. I'm getting hella sidetracked. This was not meant to just talk about my deodorants, but that's where we ended up going. Anywho, guess what? I got my fabrics. Okay, I got 3 yards. When I tell you, trying to do the math for this was killing me. I don't know what was happening. I kept on getting my feet and yards confused. And I was like, so I need 9 yards. And I was like, wait, that's too many. I need 3 yards. And then I was like, wait, but how much would that cost? And there was no prices there. And then I was like, okay, so if each blanket, like, it should be no smaller than a 3-foot square, how many yards should I get? And how many blankets should I get without literally breaking the entirety of my bank? And I was like, I need 2 sides, so I need to get 2 of each. It was exhausting. And I also didn't know you could get halves, which would have been really helpful to know, but that's okay. And then I got 3 yards of this. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make baby blankets. And look, it's Bluey. Bluey's so cute. Look how cute this is. And so first things first, I asked them to cut off this thing for me, and they said they don't do that. And so I'm gonna do that. And then I'm gonna cut this side, and it's like anti-pill, and it's really warm because I was like, I need to get anti-pill because I don't want their blanket to fall apart. I don't know if this side's anti-pill, but I feel like it should be fine as long as one side's anti-pill, because I was like, I don't just want to give them a blue one, I want them to have like a bluey one, and it's so cute. I also saw Winnie the Pooh, and I was like, but I don't know if Winnie the Pooh's popular anymore. I want them to be the cool kids in school. Well, not like that. That came out wrong. I want them to be happy. I want them to be like, walk in and be like, I have my bluey blanket. Oh, these just sound sharp. Wait, I'm so excited. Anywho, so that's what I'm going to be doing. Making baby blankets. Measuring this is going to be a pain in my butt. And I also need to figure out what I'm doing.